Fever. The bane of every child's existence, and the ultimate excuse to stay home from school. But have you ever wondered what actually happens inside your body when you have a fever? Well, put on your lab coats, folks, because we're about to take a trip through the wacky and wonderful world of human biology. Of what happens inside our body when we have a fever. Of what happens inside our body when we have a fever. The hypothalamus is the part of the brain that controls body temperature. It acts like a thermostat, monitoring the temperature of the blood and sending signals to various parts of the body to maintain a constant temperature of around 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, 37 degrees Celsius. When our body detects an infection, it triggers an immune response. This response includes the release of pyrogens, which are chemicals that signal the hypothalamus to raise the body's temperature. The most common pyrogen is a cytokine called interleukin-1, which is released by immune cells in response to infection. Once the hypothalamus receives these signals, it responds by increasing the body's core temperature. This causes blood vessels in the skin to constrict, which reduces heat loss through the skin and helps to raise the body's internal temperature. As the body's temperature increases, it triggers a number of physiological responses that help to fight the infection. One of these responses is an increase in heart rate, which helps to pump more blood to the infected area. The increase in heart rate can also cause the body to feel warmer and more flushed. Another response is the production of sweat, which helps to cool the body down as it evaporates from the skin. However, because the skin's blood vessels are constricted during a fever, the body's ability to sweat and release heat is reduced. This is one reason why fevers can make us feel uncomfortably hot and sweaty. The body also responds to a fever by increasing the production of immune cells, such as white blood cells, which help to fight off the infection. This response is beneficial in the short term, as it helps the body to mount a strong immune response to the infection. However, if the fever lasts for an extended period of time or is very high, it can cause negative effects on the body, such as dehydration or metabolic disturbances. It all starts with the hypothalamus, a small but mighty region of the brain that controls body temperature. Normally, the hypothalamus keeps our temperature at a steady 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, or 37 degrees Celsius, for all you fancy metric system users out there. But when we get sick, the hypothalamus goes into overdrive, raising our temperature to create what we know as a fever. Now, you might be thinking, but why would our own bodies try to kill us like this? Well, as it turns out, a fever is actually a sign that our immune system is doing its job. But while a fever may be a sign of a strong immune response, it can also make us feel like absolute garbage. This is because our body is working harder to pump blood to our extremities, which can feel cold and clammy as our blood vessels constrict. Meanwhile, our muscles may ache and feel weak, as our body tries to conserve energy to fight off the infection. And let's not forget about the chills. You know that feeling when you're so cold, you're shivering uncontrollably, even though you're wrapped up in blankets? That's your body's way of trying to generate heat by making your muscles contract rapidly. It's like your body is saying, I know it's uncomfortable, but please bear with me while we try to cook these germs out of here. Of course, the symptoms of a fever can vary depending on the individual and the cause of the infection. Some people might experience nausea or vomiting, while others might have a headache or feel dizzy. In rare cases, a very high fever can even lead to seizures, so it's important to keep an eye on your temperature and seek medical attention if you're concerned. But fear not, my feverish friends. There are plenty of things you can do to help your body fight off an infection and feel better in the process. Here are a few tips. Stay hydrated. Drinking plenty of fluids can help flush out toxins and keep you from getting dehydrated, which can make you feel even worse. Get plenty of rest. Your body needs extra energy to fight off an infection, so it's okay to take it easy and nap or watch TV for a while. Take over-the-counter medications like acetaminophen, Tylenol, or ibuprofen, Advil, to help reduce your fever and relieve any pain or discomfort. Use a cool compress or take a lukewarm bath to help bring your temperature. And most importantly, don't be afraid to ask for help. If you're feeling really sick, reach out to a trusted friend or family member, or seek medical attention if necessary. So there you have it, folks. The wild and wacky world of fevers, explained in all its scientific, and occasionally silly, glory. Just remember, the next time you're snuggled up under a pile of blankets, feeling like death. But before I sign off, I feel obligated to share a cautionary tale about the dangers of relying too heavily on self-diagnosis. You see, a few years ago, I came down with a pretty gnarly fever that had me feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. Being the self-proclaimed medical expert that I am, just kidding, please don't take medical advice from a chatbot, I decided to tough it out and take some over-the-counter meds to bring my temperature down. Big mistake. After a few days of feeling absolutely miserable, I finally decided to go see a doctor. And what do you know? Turns out I had a pretty serious case of strep throat, and I needed antibiotics to clear it up. So the moral of the story is this: while fevers are usually nothing to be too concerned about, it's always a good idea to get a proper diagnosis from a medical professional if you're feeling really sick. And in the meantime, don't forget to drink lots of fluids, get some rest, and maybe indulge in a little Netflix binge watching. Hey, you deserve it. Well, folks, I hope you've enjoyed this jaunt through the inner workings of the human body. And remember, the next time you're feeling under the weather, just think of your fever as a battle cry from your immune system. Or, an excuse to stay in your pajamas all day. Whichever works for you.